뭐 이런 그
아, 오케이. 자, 지금부터 잉글리시로 해보도록 할게요. Like in English from now. What's a favorite book ever?
My favorite book. It's a tricky one. So there's a series of books by an author called Philip Pullman called the Northern Lights trilogy. And they are about a little girl who lives in an alternate universe where her soul is an animal.
Oh.
And so everyone in this universe, their soul is a separate being from themselves, and it's unique to that person. So depending on their personality, they have a different animal. And she goes on a big adventure, and she goes to the North Pole, and it's a really nice book. It's got a lot of adventure in it, and it also makes you think about life and existence.
What's your favorite movie ever?
Favorite movie? Gladiator.
London or Seoul?
Seoul.
Seoul or Wollongong?
Oh, probably Wollongong. if I could have the life I have in Seoul and live in Wollongong, perfect.
Okay. English breakfast or kimchi-jjigae?
English breakfast.
Your favorite place around Seoul?
Probably Bukhansan. You can't really see it very well from here, but just around the corner, there's an amazing view. Bukhansan just takes up the skyline. I love it, particularly at sunset. You get this amazing red light sunset on the golden rock on Bukhansan, and it's just beautiful.
Wow. Where would you recommend not to go in the UK for a tourist?
London.
Okay.
I think people, when they think of the UK, they maybe only think of London. So I'm not saying don't go to London, but I wish people would also visit places outside of London. London is just an international city. It's similar to any big city.
Okay. Just one thing you like about Australia?
One thing. So it also annoys me, but people are so laid back. I love that. I love that in Australia there's the balance between work and life. No one takes anything too seriously, which means everything happens very slowly.
Okay.
But on the other hand, people are always happy and always kind of chilled out.
That's cool. What's the meaning of life?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure there is one, but I think if there is any meaning to life, then it is making the most of every moment we have, and I think that means learning new things and loving the people around us.
What's the capital of Venezuela?
Caracas.
Ooh. What's the name of the second highest mountain on earth?
K2.
And where is it located?
In Pakistan.
Can you sing UK's national anthem? Just first line.
We have a terrible national anthem. God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen.
Ooh. What's the coldest temperature you have ever experienced?
So without wind chill, about -40, and with wind chill, it would have been about -60.
Oh, what's the hottest one?
50 degrees.
Ooh. If I'm your fan, where can I meet you?
At the moment, by enrolling at Dongguk University.
If you had a call from PD님 to start shooting 비정상회담 again, would you agree to it?
It's a tricky one. I guess I'm not sure I would say no, but for me, I would. Maybe I'm too serious. So I think if I was the PD and I did 비정상회담, it would be more serious. But then no one would watch it.
If you could travel back in time, where would you travel to?
Maybe the 1920s. I think in the 1920s, then the world would be fairly similar to the way we experience it now. But at that time, there wasn't much tourism. So I think if you were to travel, there's enough transport that you could travel quite easily and visit lots of places, but they wouldn't have lots of tourists, so you would really get to see the place in its original form.
Finish the sentence. When I'm 75, I will be...
I will be a contented and happy grandfather, I hope.
What's the most useless thing in this world?
The most useless thing? Ooh. Not something I've ever really considered. I'm not sure I can answer that.
Okay, sure, yeah, we can skip it. Sea or mountains?
It's very difficult, but if I had to choose, mountains.
Okay. When was the last time you cried?
Last weekend. So we've just got a puppy, and we are looking after the puppy, and the puppy was being very naughty, and it was trying to bite stuff, and I had to pull it off from biting, and it didn't like being pulled off, and started really going crazy, so I had to hold its collar and allow it to calm down, but it really didn't like it. And I felt very bad for having to physically restrain the puppy, and so I cried because I thought like, oh, I feel so like I didn't the thought of like hurting it made me so sad that I then felt bad.
What's 123 plus 321?
It is 444.
Right, correct. What does depress you the most recently?
I don't really like to stray into politics, but I think it is if anything, I understand people have different viewpoints. Personally, I'm relatively liberal, but the thing which I find most upsetting is people not speaking to each other respectfully to understand, yes, you have a different viewpoint to mine, I have a different viewpoint to you, but if we genuinely come to this problem wanting to find a solution, then we can. But I think nowadays, at the moment at least, so many situations in politics, the two sides, they don't have a genuine desire to listen to each other to find a solution. And I find that depressing, because if people aren't trying to find a solution, then we won't find solutions.
If it's just a light cold, do you immediately go to a doctor, or do you use a folk remedies?
If it's at the moment, maybe it's different. Maybe I would go and get a test for coronavirus. But usually, if I have a light cold, then I will just try and have more sleep and some maybe lemon and honey drink.
Okay. When will the coronavirus pandemic end?
Oh, it's a tough one. I think one way or another that next year things will begin to return to some sort of normality. I think there should be some vaccines available by then. Whether they are available to enough people to eliminate the virus, I don't know. But I think that either through vaccines we'll bring the virus under control, or we will just have to find a way to live with the vaccine in a more normalized way.
What's your next destination you'd like to conquer?
I don't really like the word conquer, but there are lots of places I'd like to go. I'd really like to go to Kamchatka in Russia. I think partly from my research, I think there's some interesting research I could do there, but also obviously I've only seen photos of the landscape, but the landscape looks absolutely spectacular, and it's been somewhere I'd like to go for a long time.
What do you want to be known for after you die?
This is, I guess, a question which maybe goes to the heart of who I or like what I live for. And sadly, I don't really know. But the most important thing to me is to feel like I made a difference through being alive. So I would like to be able to look back on my life and think, because of me, the world became a better place in some way. I don't know what that way is yet, but I hope that I will have the opportunity to have that impact.
What was your least favorite subject in school?
Least favorite subject? I think at school I didn't find history very interesting in school, and so I had to choose between history and geography. I had to choose one, and I love geography, so I chose geography. But now, the older I get, the more interested I am in history.
Yeah, same here. What was the most favorite then?
Probably either geography or archaeology.
Tube or subway?
Well, I'm British, so it has to be tube.
Flat or apartment?
Flat.
What do you call a floor which you step into immediately from the street?
Pavement.
What about the floor above it?
Right, I see. Okay, so the floor on the street is ground, and the floor above it is the first floor.
What's 약국 in English?
It is. See, I've lived abroad for so long; it's difficult to remember. Either chemist. So I think the old word is chemist. So there's a brand in the UK called Boots, and they're called Boots Chemist. So a lot of people would say I'm going to the chemist, but more nowadays people will say pharmacy as well.
What's 줄 in English? 줄.
줄? I actually don't know.
Like stand in 줄서다.
Okay, 줄. Stand in a line. So we say queuing. Like in the UK, we're famous for queuing.
Okay, what is that Koreans think about England that is absolutely wrong?
There's actually two things. One is people think that the UK is foggy, which maybe in the 1950s we had very bad smog in London, but that's now a long time ago, 70 years ago. And 영국 음식 맛없다는 거. The problem with British food is it's not very conducive to making in restaurants. It's great for home cooking, but it's very bad for making nice restaurant dishes. So that's why you don't have any British, like famous British restaurants. But I will ask you to think of all of the famous chefs who you know, and think how many of them are British.
Oh, that's actually, interesting. So, what is that British think about Korea that is absolutely wrong?
I think the thing which I find most frustrating is it's not necessarily that there's something wrong, but it's not being clear about North Korea and South Korea. So I think there's a lot of people who, if you say, I live in Korea, and they're like, North Korea or South Korea? And it's like, do you not read the news?
What would you recommend to a first-time visitor in Korea?
I would...
Just one place.
So I would recommend doing a road trip up the East Sea. So maybe start in Busan and go all the way up to Sokcho. It's beautiful.
What was my first question?
It was. So this is probably even before, but it was, what were you doing before this interview?
자, 이제 마지막에 한국말로 지금 이 영상 보고 계신 시청자들에게 전하고 싶은 메시지는?
뭐 지금 코로나 바이러스 때문에 우리 다 힘들고 있어서 많이 짜증나고 고생하고 있지만 우리 다 같이 겪어 가야 되니까 일단 좀 힘내시고, 그리고 내년 뭐 내후년 우리 원하는 기회 뭐 방향으로 열심히 노력합시다.
네, 알겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다.
감사합니다.